Immutable X. Immutable X is one of the largest trading platforms in the Web3 space today. Not really surprising since it's evaluated at $2.5 billion in 2022. However, if you spend even a small amount of time on this platform, you'll notice some suspicious activity. Some game assets are being traded for far higher prices than they should be. This has led to many accusations thrown at the platform, which include fake trading volume and wash trading. So I spent the past few weeks looking into it, and this is what I found. First off, what is Immutable X? Well, Immutable was well known as a gaming company prior to 2021. However, in 2021, they created Immutable X, their own trading platform. And this is primarily what they focus on today. The key factors that separate Immutable from another Web3 trading platform like OpenSeas is the gas fees. You see, normally when you buy and sell NFTs on OpenSeas, you have to pay a gas fee. However, Immutable operates on their Layer 2 protocol, and that protocol has no gas fee. And that's their main selling point to get games to build and trade on their platform. Plus, when games decide to build on their platform, they can charge whatever royalty fee they choose. Most games charge between 3 and 10%. But what about the suspicious activity? Well, here's where it starts. This is a card from the game Outlaw Unchained. Yes, it's also an NFT. This card isn't particularly good or rare. In fact, you can see the price of this card is normally really low. So why is it that one of these cards randomly sells for an absurd price when the rest don't? In fact, you can see this happening multiple times to different trash cards. However, if we go back in time, every now and then we see this happening in other games. So what's going on? Is there collusion between certain traders on the platform? Or maybe something shady going on with the developers of these games? Or does it stretch to the owners of Immutable itself? Well, let's find out. Well, this is probably the most well-known secret on Immutable. It's called wash trading. People sell their assets from one account to another account they own, or in this case a wallet. And they do those trades back and forth multiple times. And the trading volume is tracked by the marketplaces. Normally someone does something like this to get attention to their token or NFT project, because normally marketplaces post the top trading assets on the top of their homepage. You can call this sort of advertising, I guess. Basically, they're trying to convince people that they are bigger than they actually are. And hopefully the people they bring in will outweigh the cost and fees produced from trading. Because remember, there's a fee every time you trade. So there becomes a point where this is unprofitable. Now, if this was a stock market, this is very illegal. It's considered market manipulation. Back in the early 1900s, traders would do this exact same thing to trick other traders into buying small stocks that they already own a large share of. However, the Commodity Exchange Act in 1936 outlawed this very practice. But in the world of crypto, it's all fair game. So moving on. Here we go again. An asset that shouldn't be worth much is being sold for a ridiculously high price. And it's being sold back and forth between two wallets. This, again, is clearly wash trading. So earlier I asked, who exactly knows about this? Well, pretty much everyone knows. The people on Reddit know, the people on YouTube know, the people in the Discord know. In fact, they have an entire feedback section dedicated to it. And even on their trading site, they have a section dedicated to what they're doing to prevent wash trading. Basically, everyone and their mother knows, okay? But a lot of people seem to have the same questions. Why is it so rampant? Is wash trading really that profitable? And why hasn't Immutable done anything to prevent this? Or have they? Well, to answer your questions, we had to go back to when these types of transactions first started. And we had to find the reason it is so attractive to do in the first place. Rewind to June of 2022. Immutable announces a special program called IMX Trading Rewards. This is to help reward traders and encourage them to keep trading on the platform. For 6 weeks, your trading volume will be recorded and you'll receive points on how much you traded. Then IMX tokens will be rewarded to the proportion of points that individual earned. The total trading rewards prize pool? 1.6 million IMX tokens, or about $2 million at the time. Very lucrative rewards if you ask me. Wow, what could possibly go wrong? Anyway, about 3 weeks go by and a leaderboard is posted in the Immutable Discord that shows the top traders. And here marks the first recordings of strange activity. These are the top 2 wallets at the time. However, if you take a closer look, you'll see that they're only buying and selling between each other. Wash trading. And because they're doing it so much, they're on the top of the leaderboard and will still be rewarded. However, it's not as cut and dry as that. Because although they are getting rewarded, they are still paying a small fee per transaction. Here, let me show you. Even though there's no gas fee, Immutable X still charges 3 types of fees. The protocol fee, that's the fee charged for using their backend. And then there's the ecosystem fee. That's the fee the marketplace is charged that varies from marketplace to marketplace. And then there are the royalty fees. Each royalty fee is determined by the founders of their respective project. And in this case, HRO is charging 10%. Which on average is quite high. So if you add all the fees together, it comes out to 11%. So whoever's trying to game the system is actually losing quite a bit of money. But people are still complaining about it though. Also, someone checks one of the wallets on the Etherscan and finds something interesting. One of the wallets mentioned created HRO. What does this mean? That means that these wallets belong to the founder of this project, and they're the ones doing the wash trading. And that pretty much changes everything. Let me show you. If we go back to the fee section, you'll realize that they're doing discounted trades. Because although they are paying the protocol fee, the royalty fees of 10% are going straight back to them. Also, they have their own marketplace, so they aren't paying any ecosystem fees either. Yeah, so none of this is fair or organic trading. At this point, if you're a normal visitor to the platform, don't even worry about the trading rewards, because you're not going to get any. I mean, how can you possibly outtrade these guys? However, people brought this up and it seems that trade rewards weren't given to these wallets. Okay, so I know that people want to call HRO a scam and attack them, but that's not quite accurate. You see, I did some more digging and found that HRO is pretty weird. You see, they are a legitimate entity, but they seem to have a lot of physical products, and almost nothing to do with NFTs. They have a very active Discord, but a lot of people there don't even mention IMX or NFTs. And from what I understand, their protocol is very weird as well. As in, they have their own marketplace in their app, and the trades that are happening in the app are being mirrored in the main wallets as transfers. Or at least that's what I think is happening. Again, it's kind of confusing. But I think when you want to withdraw the card that you own, the main wallets just transfer it to your account. Also, there are many other projects that were subject to wash trading. For example, Crypto Cholos. They have no royalty fees for their project, so it's quite profitable to wash trade them. Anyways, the second iteration in trading rewards comes out, and it doesn't address any of the problems at all. However, it does add a couple restrictions though, like you have to trade at least $10 a day to receive a reward. You know, because we can't be having these poor people getting rewarded for their trades. A few weeks later, the third iteration of the trading rewards would come in, and finally, some real restrictions. A max trade limit of $10,000 per day is imposed. Only collections that have royalty fees will also be eligible. Also, you can't create a collection for the sole purpose of this trading program. And the 24-hour rule set is also introduced. To me, this is a huge step in the right direction, and it's a complete overhaul compared to the Wild West of anything goes rules when it first started. For example, here's another project called Land Loot. People were blatantly taking advantage of the system. Unfortunately, with the new restrictions, we won't be seeing sales reaching close to $100,000 mark again. And the same goes for the Mutant Apes project. I'm telling you, it was everywhere. So, with this new overhaul, everything's solved, right? Well, let's see. Immutaswap. Okay, so we need to talk about Immutaswap. Basically, you could trade God's tokens for Ethereum on there and vice versa. So traders started doing the most efficient thing and just trade it under $10,000 to get the rewards, because doing so on Immutaswap met all the requirements. Plus, it was tied with the lowest royalty fee at 0.5%. We'll talk about the other project with that low of a royalty fee later. Later on, the fourth iteration of trading rewards is introduced. This time, only eligible collections get rewarded, and this time, Immutaswap is left off. But fair play to the guy that ran it. It seems that he agreed with the decision and he knew what eventually happened. However, I believe that's also why Immutaswap isn't around anymore. But that's just my speculation. I haven't really confirmed it. So with Immutaswap gone, traders begin trading on the other project with the lowest royalty fee. And that's Gods Unchained. Well, not exactly. You see, Gods Unchained's royalty fee is at 5% normally. But there's an exception. It's with the diamond cards. You see, you can combine cards to make them shinier. And in terms of shininess, diamonds are at the top. Also, their royalty fee is at only 0.5%. Why is this different from a normal card? I don't know. And as you would expect, people began exploiting this. And they would do so until a change happens. Then finally, after many people were complaining, a change did finally happen. That's why they introduced the Partner Spotlight. For a limited time, trading rewards will be doubled when you trade on the Rarible marketplace. For a time. And you might be asking, how does this prevent wash trading? And that's a good question. Anyways, things went exactly as you would expect. It continued. Then another spotlight is introduced, this time for the GameStop marketplace. However, instead of doubling your rewards, it is now the only place you can earn rewards. For a time. Now, Immutable does have quite the history with GameStop, a history of getting bent over and just a history of solid partnerships and completely fair deals, where they each promote each other as equals. In December of 2022, a new spotlight would occur, but it will be for the Undead Blocks project. Only traders for Undead Blocks would get trading rewards. So as you would expect, the trading volume moves from Gods Unchained to Undead Blocks until the spotlight ends. Then it just moves back. Then in March of this year, another big change occurs. The Illuvium spotlight. Only trades from the Illuvium game will count towards the trading rewards. And boom, would you look at that, everyone moves from Gods Unchained to Illuvium. Again, what a surprise. Now, there's something I need to address really quickly. I looked throughout the Immutable Discord and I've noticed a lot of people calling out Gods Unchained for having such low royalty fees on their diamond cards. Some people even suggest that Gods Unchained be banned from the entire chain itself, which I find quite funny. Let me explain it real quick. Gods Unchained is the second game made by Fuel Games. We don't talk about the first one. Then the founders, the Ferguson brothers, decided to rebrand to Immutable. Then they built the IMEX marketplace, followed by products like the IMEX Passport and sponsorships of NFT NYC, and they do other stuff. But Gods Unchained is still run by their gaming division, along with some other games that they're working on. Either way, my point is that they could raise the royalty fees back to normal levels if they wanted to. It's just that they choose not to. And that's what I find so funny. Oh, and the final iteration of the trading rewards is made. The max trade limit per day is reduced from 10,000 to 5,000. And now we're finally done. And here we are today. So with all these new regulations, is it over? Unfortunately, no. You can look at the Immutascan and you'll still see those transactions. I personally tracked the wash traded diamond cards for the past 24 hours. I then compared it to the total daily trading volume listed on IMX's front page. The results came to about 56%. So, 56% of Gods Unchained's trading volume is wash traded. And yes, I chose Gods Unchained because it has the highest trading volume. But what about the second biggest game, Across the Ages? Well, it's not safe either. The Golden Mint Pass gets bought and sold between the same wallets every few weeks, and it's normally the same 5 or 6 wallets. And unless there's a special reason for buying and selling the same item one day just to sell at a loss the next day to the same person, then this is most likely wash trading as well. But I got curious, is doing this really that profitable? Well, I did the math. I added the fees together from both accounts that were buying and selling between each other for a day. Then subtracted that from the rewards that they were paid out at the end of the day. And it's pretty close to break even. In summary, it's not that profitable to wash trade, but people are still doing it. Like, why? That seems like a lot of work to just break even. Well, maybe someone smarter than me will come along and figure that part out. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Do you remember these two wallets? Occasionally throughout this video, I've used these two wallets as examples. But I did it for a certain reason. 1. It's a clear example of wash trading and is a good visual example. And 2. I know who these wallets belong to. And if you play the game Gods Unchained, you'll know them as well. But first, let me talk about the Council of Mortals really quickly. It's basically an advisory body of players that were voted in to help suggest changes that need to be made in the game. I think there are about 15 of them in total. Each one serves a 6-month term and is compensated 300 Gods tokens a month. And yes, these two wallets belong to their members. One person has a pass to a tournament that gave me their player ID. And just follow this process, type in their ID number. It's tea time. He made a few wash trades back in September and got rewarded for it. And around the same time, the other person did quite a few trades as well. And they were even more handsomely rewarded. But they did leave their address in the general Discord. And that's Jazz's. But to be fair, these two weren't part of the council back then. They were ordinary players at the time. Also, I'm not saying any punishment needs to be handed out or something. That's not my intention. I just feel that other players should know, because I believe that transparency is always needed in our community. Okay, I often hear arguments defending wash trading, and I'll address them right now. I can't believe I had to explain this, but let me remind you, wash trading is bad. It's market manipulation. It can be considered fraud. You're misleading investors into thinking that assets and projects are more successful than they actually are. And after investors buy in, they can't sell anything they were supposed to be selling because the supposed top-selling project on the marketplace was being wash traded. And in the case of Immutable, the projects are the games, and the investors are the players who buy because they think that there's more interest in a game than there actually is. And remember, even though wash trading NFTs isn't illegal, it's up to Immutable to regulate it, because it never feels good to be on the wrong side of this activity. Anyways, I hope I've made myself clear. Now, let me introduce you to the growth flywheel, the whole reason behind giving out trading rewards in the first place. Because a lot of people in the Discord suggest turning off the trading rewards so that only organic trading volume will remain. However, Immutable is quick to turn down that suggestion. They explain that their logic is the growth flywheel. More gains means more trades, which leads to more staking rewards. And as for the staking rewards, well, that comes from the protocol fee, that 2% fee on each trade. So yes, while technically more trades do give more staking rewards, it's split 80-20. 80% going to Immutable and 20% going to the staking rewards. And in practice, the trading rewards are still going to the few wash traders on the platform. Yes, even if they're losing money, they still do it. So really, the trading rewards aren't helping out at all. Another argument I see is that Immutable needs high trading volume to attract more people to build on their platform, and they are trying to balance between having both high trading volume and organic volume. And while that may be true, it seems pretty clear to me that the trading rewards have brought at least as much bad as good. Of course, this is just my perspective, but when I see really suspicious activities on a project, I mark it as a red flag and move on. The same way as a few bad apples will spoil the whole barrel. But that's just my take. However, now I have to give credit where credit is due. While in the beginning, Immutable seemed to be a little hesitant towards changing the rules, they have eventually come around and realized that change is needed. And they have made quite a few changes for the better. You have to give them that. The only suggestion I would give right now is that there needs to be a place where people can report accounts that are blatantly wash trading, and employees can manually review it and deem whether that particular wallet would receive trading rewards or not. Also, you can revert the royalties for Diamond Gods Unchained cards back to the normal royalty fee rate. But other than that, to me it seems Immutable is doing their best. Not perfect, but at least they're trying. And I look forward to more iterations of the trading rewards in the future. To me, I would only get after Immutable if they were doing something more malicious, like say advertising the trade volume on their platform, that they themselves know is fake. And so far, I haven't seen any of that. So it looks like our story ends right here.
Good morning, Robbie Ferguson here from Immutable.
God damn it, this guy again. And here's a tweet by Robbie, telling everyone how Immutable has done over $500 million in NFT trading volume. And then he goes on to say it consistently has more NFT trades than any other L1 or L2 in the world. Again, no mention of wash trading here though. And here's another tweet. Undead Block's launch on GameStop has done more than $1 million in trading volume in its first 72 hours. Of course, this tweet doesn't mention any of the trading reward spotlight that we know happened earlier. And here's a post on Reddit by Robbie. Once again, trying to get the word out about the $1 million in trading volume in its first 3 days. And if we move on, another post by Robbie. GameStop Marketplace hits over $5 million in total trading volume. Again, this is only possible due to wash trading that was happening on the platform at the time. But let's keep going. Immutable plus GameStop just overtook Solana to be the most traded NFT marketplace. So there you go. Robbie can't keep his mouth shut. He has to brag about the trading volume. It's like, come on, we both know it's wash trading that's pumping the numbers. It's wrong to claim otherwise. If you don't want Immutable to be seen as a shady platform, don't brag about the numbers. Or at least that's just what I think. The thoughts of a guy talking to a microphone for like 25 minutes. Okay, so now we're all out of time. Of course, I didn't get to cover everything that I wanted to, like that time a few Gods Unchained cards were trading without any royalty fees and still got trading rewards, or what happened to the projects that were trading so high in the beginning but then fell off. You know what, I'll show a few more examples quickly on the screen. But for this subject, I'll probably do a Q&A or something on my main channel. But make sure to leave your question in the comments below. And until something else comes up, I'm the Outlaw. Later.